Testing, testing. Can everybody hear me?
Well, we're looking for the people online.
Oh, okay. Yeah. I don't think so.
Mayor Hernandez, can you hear me?
Yes, ma'am, I sure can.
Oh, can you turn the volume up a little bit on there?
Can you repeat that, please?
I said, yes, ma'am, I sure can.
I can hear you too.
All right, wonderful. Sorry about not being in there in person.
Chair Everett, we're recording and live and ready to get started.
Awesome. Thank you very much. I now call this meeting of the College Place Youth Advisory Commission to order at 4 p.m. Will the clerk please take roll call?
Commissioner Amick,
Oh, she's online. Can she hear us?
Commissioner Amick, can you hear us?
Yes.
Thank you. Commissioner Hayden,
Yes. Present.
Commissioner Ferraro,
Present.
Commissioner Harbor,
Present.
and Commissioner Sample. We do have a quorum.
Stevie, this is Mayor Hernandez. I just want to note that we can't turn on our cameras. It's saying that the host disabled it.
We'll get right on that, Mayor. Thank you.
Mhm. I didn't want you to think I was being rude.
No. I have these buttons. I would do that.
Okay, Mayor, does that work? You're muted.
Looks good. I said, there, now you can't hear me. There I am. Oh my goodness, I can see myself on the big screen behind everybody, and that's weird.
Awesome. Really quick to the clerk. Has anyone submitted a public comment in advance?
No, sir.
Awesome. Thank you. For anyone attending, if you have any questions or would like to speak, please raise your hand now. Cool. Seeing none, we'll move on to consent of the agenda. We have a number of items to approve on the agenda. Let me see if I can find them really fast. Hold up. Yeah, if you could, that'd be awesome. The agenda is. Okay. So for the consent agenda, we need to approve the agenda for today of February 19th, 2025. Do we have a motion to approve that? Oh, and approve the minutes for November 20th, which was our first meeting. Cool. All right, we have a motion. Do we have a second? We have a second. Oh, sorry. Kirk Everett motions,
Okay.
and then
And
what is
Harbor
it?
second.
Yeah.
Okay.
So we have a motion. All in favor, say aye.
Aye. Aye.
Any opposed, say nay. All right. Motion passes, and we have approved the agenda for February 19th, 2025, and also approved the minutes from November 20th, 2024. With that out of the way, we'll move into presentations. We have, actually, in the meantime, do we have any discussion on anything that's happened so far? Questions, comments? Seeing none, we will move on to the presentations. First up, we have discussion / potentially a presentation with the College Place Police Chief, Troy Tamaris.
Well, thank you very much. It's a pleasure to present to you an overview of the police department, your police department. We serve the community, we serve you. And I think she's gonna pull it up for me here. That's okay. We'll take our time. Now, where are you guys from? You guys all university students, high school?
We're university.
Okay,
Then we're both from College Place High School.
awesome. Cool. Excellent. Yeah, and Charlie, where are you from?
I'm also from College Place High School.
Excellent. Well, this is my recruiting pitch. You just never know. You might be interested in law enforcement someday. So I've recruited a lot of young men and women over the years, and planting the seed early is a good thing. So consider that. So am I going to have control over this, or are you going to do it for me? Okay. No, it's fine. Okay, so we're going to talk about the College Place Police Department. Go ahead, next slide. So currently we have funding for 11 patrol officers, 1 school resource officer. You guys know Officer Shield. Is he a good guy?
Yes, we all really love him at the.
That's good
High
to
school.
hear. He's great. And we have 2 detectives, 2 sergeants. We are currently in the process of hiring a captain's position, and then myself, the chief. And I've been the chief since 2017. So almost next month will be 8 years that I've been here. So we have full staffing of 18 commissioned officers. So just patrol, we have 11 officers and 2 sergeants that you see out in the patrol cars, you see making traffic stops, responding to theft thirds, going to Walmart, whatever, those types of things. Those are the patrol officers. And our 2 detectives, one is assigned to general investigations, so basically felonies on up, and the other one is assigned to the drug task force. Both very important positions that we could do our jobs without them. As we talked about, our school resource officer is Officer Shield, and we also have 2 full-time clerks and 1 part-time clerk. And they stay very, very busy. We also have a special enforcement officer, Officer Nordman. He does code enforcement. He handles all the animal calls, and he does parking enforcement, and he's also our evidence custodian. So he is, we call him the pitch hitter. He does a little bit of everything for us. So very important position. Next slide. Here is a picture of our organization chart, our org chart, and it's definitely grown a lot over the 8 years I've been here. When I first got here in 2017, we had 6 officers and 2 sergeants. So we have been growing and growing, trying to keep up with the expansion of the city, and it's been a challenge, let me tell you. And as you know, the city is going to continue to grow and each year. So we got to keep up with that. We got to keep hiring good men and women for these jobs. Next slide. This is our most updated photo of the department. It has every employee there, and it's such a great photo. We're really proud of that, and a lot of smiling faces there. So it's a good day. It's a good thing. Okay, next slide. Our mission of the College Place Police Department embraces the philosophy of community-oriented policing and strives to enhance the quality of life of safety of our citizens with the highest degree of ethical behavior, fairness, and professional conduct. Our vision is to ensure the city of College Place is a safe place to live, work, and do business through the delivery of quality law enforcement services. Next slide. Our core values are every member of the College Place Police Department is a part of a team who inculcates courage, commitment, community, and character in their daily operations through open, honest cooperation, service, respect, and diversity. Next slide. So we have agency goals. We have 4 agency goals to serve the community, and that is to reduce crime and improve traffic safety within our community, is to provide quality services and innovative policing strategies delivered through excellent customer service. Number 3 is to provide leadership and resources to attract, retain, and foster a safe, ethical, innovative, knowledgeable, and diverse workforce. And our 4th goal is to work collaboratively with our stakeholders to improve the quality of life within our city. So those are our agency goals that we work towards each year. Next slide. We do have an operations plan that basically is a roadmap for success to meet those 4 agency goals. And what I did is I gave an example of what goal 1 would look like on our operations plan. And by the way, you can go to our website at the city and look up police department. If you scroll down on the front page, you can download the operations plan, you can download our bias reports, you can download our annual report, and you can take a closer look at those things. And if you do that and you have questions, email me. My email's on the website. You can ask me any question you want. But what we do is we have a guide to accomplish our goals, and it lists the objectives, the strategies, and the targets to achieve those goals. And then we report on our success each year through our annual report and through an updated operations plan. And that's our report card to the community. So, and I've been very proud of our report cards. We've been very happy with the success we've had in our community. And next slide. There's Officer Shield right there. You guys know, him. And for the college students, that's Officer Andrew Shield. And he's been the school resource officer there the last 2.5 years. And he's doing a fantastic job. Next slide. So just talk a little bit about body cameras. We were the first police department in the Valley to get body cameras, and we've had them since 2021. It's gone very well. And in fact, our contract with Axon is running up this year. We'll have to renegotiate with them moving into 2026. But we've been very happy with the product, and that is a great tool in a world that wants more transparency and more oversight of law enforcement. This is the best way to do it, and our officers love it. It really does protect them and shows that they're doing a good job serving our community, and we're very happy with it, and so is the public. So it's been a very successful program. Okay, next slide. So our annual report, like I mentioned, and our bias report, our annual report each year, it talks about our crime in our community, our successes. I usually post 3 years worth of data so you can have comparisons to see where things are trending up or down. And I'm currently working on that report right now to publish for 2024. So it's always a year behind because you have to wait for the data to come in. And same thing with our bias report. So by law, I'm required to monitor officers' activity, their contacts with the community, to look for any biases, any outliers. And I go a step further and actually publish a report that is published to the community to look at. So you have an opportunity to look at everybody we come in contact with. It's broken down by race and gender, and you can see that we're happy to report there are no biases that are showing up in our activity or enforcement. So we're very proud about that. Next slide. We are an accredited law enforcement agency. We're accredited to the Washington Sheriff's Police. And we had we went through it in 2020 for the first time, and we were reaccredited here this last July. So we're on our 2nd cycle of accreditation. In 2020 was the first time in our agency's 75-year history that we've achieved accreditation. So we're very proud of that. And we're also very proud that there's only about 67 accredited agencies out of 250 police departments in the state of Washington. And we're one of those 67. So, in fact, Walla PD and the Sheriff's Office are also. So all 3 agencies and the State Patrol, all 4 agencies in the Valley are fully accredited, which is something that we're proud of to serve the community. Okay, next slide. That is, well, that turned out kind of weird with the title across the space. Sorry about that, Brian. That is Detective Brian Fortin. He was awarded the Nick Hensel Award, and he was selected out of all the local law enforcement in Walla Walla to achieve that award. Brian just cycled out of detectives back to the road, so he is on patrol here starting in January. And Brian has done an amazing job. He was well deserving of that award. He's handled a lot of very critical criminal investigations investigations to include assaults and crimes on children cases that were very difficult to deal with. And he did a fantastic job with those, and he was well deserving of that award. And next slide. Yeah, so before we get to questions, you may have known we tried to get a police building built from a bond here this last election cycle. It was right around a 50-50 split, just a little under 50%. We need 60% voter approval, so it's a super majority. We're currently working out of a building, it was built in 1954. Originally, it was a chicken coop. I'm not exaggerating. It was converted into a mechanical garage where you'd go and change oil in your car. And then it was converted into student housing for the university. And in the 80s, I think 82, the city purchased it and turned it into office space. And we inherited it in 2017 when I came on board. And we have we put some new carpet in it and we painted it and we made it as home as possible, but it's also falling apart around us, and it is a building that is too small for the amount of people that work out of it. So we're trying to come up with another way to pay for a new police building, but we're in desperate need of that. So in the future, you'll see more about that, I hope. But anyways, questions? Ask me anything.
Before I go too far, just a quick clarification from the clerk. The script that I'm supposed to be following says that I'm supposed to ask each commission individually if they have questions. Can I open this as a general thing where anyone can like speak, or anyone on the commission can speak, or is it just I have to ask people individually?
It's tradition to ask people individually, but it's also tradition to be like, anybody speak, and then just make sure you go through them individual. I know, right? So both.
Cool.
Yeah.
Sounds good. Do you guys have any questions that you'd like to ask Chief Tamaris?
Yes. Okay, I was really curious. Do you have the information on what the ratio is of a College Place police officer to the amount of citizens?
So it's funny, yeah. So the Department of Justice, their recommendation for law enforcement to serve a community is 2.5 officers per 1,000 residents. So we have 18 commission, but we really only have 11 patrol officers. So we have about 10,000 people in our community. So we are well understaffed to serve our community. Yeah. In fact, a little fun fact for you, Washington State has the lowest amount of police officers per capita in the country. We're number 51 out of 51. So, and if they invested $100 million into more police officers, we'd still be dead last for police officers per capita to serve our communities.
And you said we had a plan moving forward to hire more police officers?
Yeah, so we're constantly looking at strategies. We're trying to keep up. It takes about a year. So by the time you applications in, people test, you do oral boards, you get someone hired, then they have to go through an extensive background investigation. They take a polygraph, which is a lie detector. They have to take a psychological test, a medical examination. Then they attend the Basic Law Enforcement Academy. And then when they get out of the academy, that's 5 months. Once they get out of that, then they do a 3-month on-the-job training to continue their education and learning. And if they meet all of the knowledge, skills, and abilities, they are commissioned to be on their own, and then they're on probation for a year. It is a long process just to hire a police officer. And we want it that way, right? We want it to be hard. We want it to be very difficult. But it's challenging. As the city grows, I'm constantly having conversations with the mayor. I'm constantly having conversations with our city administrator and the council, and talking about, hey, we need to hire another officer. We need to, we have some community development that's occurring right now with some new neighborhoods that are going to be going in down off of Majonier and over by the airport. And we know that we're going to have to keep up with that. So those are conversations we're having as a city staff. And but you still, it's one thing to want them. You still have to have money to hire them. So it's difficult to hire people before those things are in place because you need that tax revenue to come in. So yeah, those are challenges all the time.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Quick question
Sure.
from more of a university student standpoint, something that is more relevant to us just because there's relatively low amounts of crime on campus. What are the most significant sources of crime that you see related to the Walla Walla University area? And typically what are you guys doing to address those?
Sure. Well, I have monthly meetings with your campus deans, and of course, we work closely with the security director, Courtney, and we have a great relationship with the university and a great relationship with the security team. The easy answer to that is vehicle prowls that, you know, we have. They increase when you guys are on campus, and then they decrease when you're away from campus because students have a tendency to leave things on their seats, and a lot of those crimes are crimes of opportunity. Someone walks by and says, "Hey, I could use a new Apple laptop. I think I'm going to take that." So those are the easiest ones. Of course, theft and burglary, those occur as well. But those are the biggest crimes that we generally deal with. I mean, every crime's on the table, right? Things happen from time to time, like any other campus, but those are the ones we generally deal with the most. Yeah.
Thanks for answering that. Kind of quick extension of that. I know probably one of the bigger ticket items that we see pop up is every once in a while, like a vehicle gets stolen.
Yeah.
You've been on the force for you said almost 8 years?
I've been a police officer for 34 years.
34 years.
And I've been in College Place for 8 years.
Okay.
Yeah.
With that in mind, how would you say the state of like vehicle safety is in College Place when it comes to theft?
So auto theft, we had in 2017 was our highest auto theft year. That was 41. I think last year we had 16 off the top of my head. Washington State has the highest auto theft crimes in the country. And we are doing things to combat that. We're embracing technology such as our flock cameras. Flock cameras are basically license plate readers around the city. And if a stolen car drives by that license plate reader, it will activate within 30 seconds. We'll get a text. The officers who are working at the time will get a text on their mobile device and let them know about the stolen vehicle and where it's at. And hopefully we can be in a position to pull the vehicle over and take those people into custody and recover the vehicle. So embracing technology has helped. In fact, flock cameras and other technology is helping to turn those stats and strategies around. So we're quickly going from last place to, I don't know, maybe second to last. We're getting there slowly, but we're getting there. Yeah.
Are there any further questions that you guys have?
If you do have questions in the future, please feel free to email me, call me anytime. I'm happy to meet with you or answer questions. We love working with the students. We've taken students on rides. We've taken college students on rides. We've done student practicums. We are currently finishing up a student practicum right now. We do probably 1 or 2 of those a year. And we've really enjoyed the partnership with both the schools. So thank you. Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Yep.
Moving on to the next presentation, we have a quick discussion presentation from the College Place Fire Chief, David Winters.
I'm not as tech savvy as my partner. My notes are a Post-it note here. Thank you so much for giving me the opportunity to talk to you. College Place Fire Department. Wow, there's so much I could talk about. We were founded along with the city back in the day. It was one of the 2 services that is the reason College Place became a city. They wanted garbage service and they wanted a fire department. So we've been doing this a long time. You may think I've been around that long, but not quite. So in 1947, we started. We started over by and I don't know if you've ever seen the pictures of Old City Hall. Down next to, boy, all the landmarks I know are torn down. About 4th and College, there's an empty lot right there on the north side of that, on the right-hand side if I was headed towards the university. And that's where City Hall, Police Department, and the fire station were all in the same building, 4,500 square feet. Everything. Yeah. No. Just 4th and College. Where the next street light is. On the right-hand side, there's a building that has kind of a domed roof. That's an old car dealership that the university owns. And then right next to that is a gravel lot. That gravel lot used to be the fire station, police station, and City Hall. If you want to see pictures of any of that, go to the university's library and they have scanned digital archive of all the old pictures of College Place. And we've submitted all of our fire department pictures there. And so it's a really neat resource to look at the history of this town used to have a highway going down College Avenue. This town used to be all dirt roads, and you can see all of that in those pictures. And so if you're kind of into history and you like those kinds of pictures, it's kind of a fun afternoon to scroll through that. Once again, you may see my picture in there, but I wasn't back there quite then. I used to give the fire chief a hard time when I started at College Place about how old he was. I was 18 at the time, and he was just the oldest guy ever. He was 33. I passed that 20 years ago, so I realize you see this old guy standing in front of you because I feel old sometimes, most times. I hire a lot of 18-year-olds, so yes, I feel my age. So College Place Fire Department, what do we do? Mainly what we do anymore is EMS response. We have ambulances and we go out and we help people. That's our focus, is to help people. Anything that the law enforcement doesn't do, we do. So if you don't know who to call, you don't know who to talk to, you call us and we come out and try and help. And that mainly 80% of the time is for an EMS call. Some of the other services we provide are an owl flies through your doggy door and you don't know what to do. And so we go in the middle of the night and help you get the owl out of your house. We do fires, we do all those types of things. We are an agency that doesn't like to say no. And so if you call and you have a need, if it's an emergency to you, it may not be an emergency to me, but that doesn't make it any less of an emergency. And so we want to come out and help. We are the second busiest fire department in our county. We are the fourth largest in funding. So there are three agencies above us that get more money than we do. We have the third largest amount of volunteers. We're primarily a volunteer organization. We have 45 members today, and of that, only 8 of them are paid. So we try to have 2 paid personnel on shift at all times. And then we have 13 college-age kids that live at the station in what we call a dorm room. They actually have dorm status at the university, so they can eat in the cafeteria, but they don't have to pay dorm fees. And then they respond out at night and on weekends. Trying to think of other things that are of interesting. We go to about 2,000 calls a year. That's probably been the average over the last 4 years. Like I said, 80% of us are volunteers. If you were interested, or you know of someone who's interested in either becoming an EMT or a firefighter, or want to do rescue work or anything like that, starting at age 18, you don't have to be a graduate from high school. You can come down and apply with us. We have members from the age of 18 all the way up to 72 currently. Obviously, a 72-year-old isn't going to crawl into a building. I would have to help them get back up. But they do drive our vehicles for us. The police department is very labor focused. Most of what their budget goes towards is personnel. It takes a lot of people to staff them because they don't have volunteers. Most of what our costs are in the city is equipment. We received a new fire engine last year, and that was $700,000. And I let 18-year-olds drive that. An air pack that we wear on our back so we can breathe in a fire is $8,500. The turnouts, the clothes we wear is another $4,000. If it says fire anywhere in its name, the price goes up 7% annually. So we're a very expensive business for the city to be in. We receive our funding in several different ways. The police department main focus of their funding is through property tax. I know we all think it's from tickets, but it isn't. Most of that is from property tax. The fire department has other avenues to receive taxes. We receive the majority of it from property tax, but we also charge a fee if you use our ambulance service. We have an ambulance utility fee that we charge the facilities that use us the most. We have 4 nursing homes in our community that are 44% of our run volume. And so they pay a larger chunk of our annual budget than a homeowner would. We also receive donations sometimes, and a lot of grant opportunities we reach out to as well. As far as the demographics, I'm a firm believer that my agency and any agency should reflect its community as much as it can. Now, we'll never get totally, with hiring and all that, the demographics of our community, but currently we have 10% of our volunteers and paid staff are Hispanic, 1% is Asian, 29% is female, and only 20%, like I said earlier, is paid. I would love for those to balance. We have 50% female, 50% male, pretty close in our community. Realistically, I will never get there, but we can always strive for that. We are in the process, thanks to the mayor, of about to hire 2 more females full-time for our department, because we had one that just went to Vancouver Fire Department. And so that will give us 3 paid female firefighters. And that helps us to be more reflective of the community that we serve. My goal for our volunteers, especially for those who live at the station, is I don't care what they want to do in life, but they need to do something. They need to become a good citizen of their community, and we're going to give them the skill set to do that. A lot of the young men and women that come in there have never done laundry before. And so we show them how to iron, and we show them how to fold and not put liquid dish soap in the dishwasher and all those things that you can imagine. Mainly it's the 18-year-old males, but we do have some of the other gender that struggle with some of those home skills that are life skills that if you're ever going to be out on your own, you should probably know you don't put the reds in with the whites. Unless you, in my case, don't ever want your wife to let you do laundry again. It worked quite effectively many years ago, but she since found out I did it on purpose. And so now I do laundry again. Do you have any questions for me?
Do any of the commissions have any questions for the fire chief? Commissioner Harper?
Sure.
Yeah, just a quick question of all the people that you employ, how many are EMT certified?
So we have, of the 45, 36 of us are EMTs. Of that, 2 are paramedics for other agencies, but volunteer for us. Yeah.
Quick question, just out of curiosity.
Sure.
How many structure fires do you guys deal with every year typically?
So that's a mixed answer I'm going to give you, because we provide auto and mutual aid to our surrounding areas. So as an example, on Monday night, we were at the Eastgate Church over by the community college because they had a fire. So if we were to add those stats into it, we probably go to, my guess is somewhere between 18 and 25 fires annually that are still burning when we get there. There are those that have been put out by the property owner that are on top of that. Then there are false alarms and, well, university, you should know about false alarms. We go there. Scares, that kind of stuff. They see a dryer vent putting out steam, so they think the building's on fire. We also do wildland fires throughout the state. We did not send anyone to California this last time, but we have in the past. So yeah.
Awesome, thank you.
You're welcome.
Any further questions?
Yeah, I was wondering, is it normal for not police department, a fire department to be mostly made up of just volunteers?
So if we look at nationwide stats, about 1.2 million firefighters are across the nation. And 80% of those are probably volunteer. Most smaller municipalities and fire districts are volunteer because it's very expensive to hire somebody for waiting for a call to happen. We're not out patrolling like a police officer would be to keep you safe. We're waiting for that event to occur. So big cities, City of Walla Walla is fully paid, have been their entire time since the 1800s. I wasn't alive then either. Okay, just putting that out.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Sure.
So I was shocked also about the volunteer firefighters, but this was over when I worked in Milton Free Water. They have one paid firefighter in the whole city.
So we carry pagers and we come from home but we usually have at least 5 people at the station 24/7. Most of that being volunteers because only 2 of them are career people.
And then just one more question. How often do you guys have classes where CP citizens can go get certified in CPR and stuff like that?
You just call us and we'll put on a class.
Cool. That's
Yeah.
handy. Thank
So
you.
we teach EMT class in the fall to anyone who is affiliated with an agency. And we teach the fire class winter quarter. It's not named after me, David Winter. Oh, that's some of my best jokes. I'm dying here. I was in Alaska this weekend. You know, their dogs are all quiet. They're Malamute.
Oh my God. Okay, I have myself on mute because I'm cracking up over here. I
Oh,
maybe
okay.
because
All right.
you know,
got
you always crack me up.
I got my audience.
It might just be the old people though.
Well, my wife just rolls her eyes and we move on. So
Tough crowd at home.
we're being recorded. Nice try.
It was worth a shot.
I was once quoted from this podium that it had taken us so long to fund something, and the mayor can probably remember this, that I was going to do an Adventist interpretive dance. Would you like to see it again? That made the front page of the UB. Not all the other great things I had to say. That was the quote.
Thankfully, we found some good money.
Yeah,
Are there still copies of this UB floating around by any chance?
that probably, yes.
Yeah. Good to know.
Mhm.
That being said, do we have any further questions, both from the commissions here and then also online?
Yeah, I have several friends that have worked at your department and loved their experience from the university. I'm just curious, on average, how many university students do you employ every year?
So a national average says a volunteer is only going to last 2 years. We have a better track record. I think we hold on to people on average about 6 years. But we hire 20 to 25% of our staffing annually because of turnover, and trying to keep the numbers up. I would say university students, I'm just trying to think right now, I probably have 4. At times we have professors, sometimes we have high school instructors. I've never had a high school, I've had one high school student that was still in high school. Yeah. It's a great thing to want to do, to give back to your community. When I was in college, I went to the university. I wanted to do something that was not academic and give back. And obviously the bug took and you know, history happened. If all you ever wanted to do was to volunteer and give back to your community, it's a great thing. If you wanted to make a career out of it, we try not to sell this part because it makes the police a little jealous. We work 2 days and we're off 4. So you only work on average 9.5 days a month.
Okay, I didn't know this. Learning all kinds of things.
Well, we pay you for 24 hours. You're there for 48 hours straight, and then you get 96 off. But if you don't have any calls, you can sleep. We have bedrooms and all that kind of stuff. They say there are no windows on fire stations so that the firefighters don't know it's afternoon and they need to wake up. That was a joke. I didn't even get Norma to laugh on that one. Oh,
David, you're losing me here. Come on.
anything else? I can show another interpretive dance.
Always down for more. So
Want to see it again?
please.
There you go. It's Adventist. We don't dance.
Not
Adventists don't dance. That's why they
Don't count. That's the first time he did that to me. I'm like, was he gonna start or? And then I got it. It took me a little bit, but then I got it.
We don't dance. Yeah.
I don't dance. I think he's making that up just because he doesn't want to dance.
I think he's scared. Oh, scandalous, actually.
Yeah.
It's being recorded, so stories are not being told.
All right. Seeing as I don't think we have any more questions. If you guys do have more questions, feel free to speak up, raise a hand. Seeing nothing. Thank you, Chief Winters, for coming to
My
speak to
pleasure.
us. Again, awesome to like be able to talk to you and have the chance to
Yeah.
just see what you guys are up to.
Come by anytime. We'll put you in all the expensive vehicles. Take your picture.
Awesome.
I won't let you drive till you're on our insurance, but after that,
So you're saying that I can drive a $700,000 vehicle?
once you're on our insurance.
I might have to drop by.
So we bought that for $700,000 Pullman. A year later, bought the exact same engine, 1.1 million.
Hmm.
Ooh,
Wow.
that is a large price tag.
Yes. For every 20 years, you have to replace it. So
Well, we
Yeah.
won't be around in 20 years, so it'll be somebody else's problem.
thank you, Miss Positivity. I plan to be around, maybe not working. Wow, she said that from the heart. Oh, you're like 12.
Let the minutes show.
That she's going to kill us all.
Yes, that too.
It's gonna be Hail Bop all over again. It's way before your time, but it was a cult that they thought a comma was. Do you remember
Oh my
Hail Bop, Norma? Hail
Do I
Bop?
remember? Of course I do.
Okay.
Yeah, I know. Come on, kids. You got to pretend you at least get it. But thanks,
Welcome,
David.
Doctor. All right. Moving on to our next presentation. We are supposed to have a update on the Downtown Association formation from Ms. Garcia. Don't believe that Ms. Garcia is present. Oh, that's you. My fault.
Actually, I gave you the wrong agenda. The next thing, I'm so sorry, is a Q&A with Mayor Hernandez.
Awesome. So, moving into that Q&A. Mayor Hernandez, do you have any information that you'd like to share with us beforehand?
I just introduce myself to those of you who don't know me. I am Norma Hernandez. I've been the mayor of College Place since 2019. I was first appointed to be mayor when our last mayor stepped down because he was moving. And so I was on the city council at the time. I interviewed with 8 other men, actually. It was just 8 men and myself. We had to go through a whole interview public process, public interviews. And I was appointed to a city council seat. And then less than a year, I don't know, 6, 7 months, our mayor was stepping down. And so I was asked to interview, and I went against 6 other people. There was 2, myself and 1 other woman, and then men. And I was selected to be the mayor then, and that was in 2019. And I served until 2021, and I had to run for the seat into 2021 because that was the end of the term. So I had to run to actually keep my seat, which I did in 2021. And I'm serving until the end of 2025. It's an election year this year. So, this would be the year if, I don't know what's going to happen. But anyways, that's the end of my term is at the end of, my current term at December 2025. Never expected to be mayor, but I love doing it. So I'd love to hear your questions or your thoughts, even your comments about the city, about hearing, you heard from both the police chief and the chief Winter, the fire chief, and they both, I noted that they both spoke about changes that happened since 2019, right? We had 7 officers when I became mayor. We're now more than double that. We got some new fire trucks, things like that. And those are because I prioritized ensuring that we had the tools here in College Place that our staff needed in order to serve the community. Safety is obviously a real big one. We got new police cars. We got those body cams. We were like Troy said, we were the first ones to get body cams. Nobody really other cities were kind of pushing back on it, but we felt it was the best way to protect our officers from false accusations, as well as our citizens from any inappropriate behavior from officers. New uniforms. They got all these different types of weapons and less lethal forms. The fire department's gotten a number of new vehicles, water tenders, things that they did not have prior to that. So I'm pretty proud of those things that we've been able to get these things for these 2 very important departments that they didn't have before. Most excitingly is we hardly paid for any of them because most of them were paid through grants that City Administrator Mike Rizzatello applied for and was able to get in order to pay for most of these. So it didn't really affect our taxpayers too much. All right. Any questions or comments for me? Thoughts?
Quick question. You said that you only have to the end of 2025 with this term. Obviously, you have the possibility to be reelected, but do you have any goals for like the remainder of your term?
Oh, goodness. My goodness, you honestly asked some great questions. So we are working on trying to settle some things down at the city. We've had a lot of projects going in the last 4 years, lots of changes going on. And I think my goals for this through the end of this term is to complete some of these projects that we've been working on for a long time. Lions Park, get started on Majonier so that we can prepare for the new development that's going across the high school. We're expecting over 400 homes eventually in that field across from the high school. We're expecting businesses to go across from the high school, in further up to near College Avenue. So it's going to get really busy. So we're really trying to get those all set and done before the development starts. Because the last thing we want to do is try to be playing catch up when the development's there, and then they're saying, well, now we don't have water, the sewer's not running well, kind of like the issue that they had in Walla Walla when they were trying to do development in Cottonwood, and there was all these issues that were being brought up of why it shouldn't happen. We want to prevent those kind of things, and we've been working on those for a few years. So I'd like to see those projects come to fruition. We are, and it's, these things aren't sexy, but they're things that everybody needs that really would impact you if you didn't have them. Water wells. When I became mayor, we had 1.5 water wells. So we had 1 full water well and another water well that was working at half capacity. Today we have 7 now, 7 water wells, and we are working on our 8th. Technically, we have it, except for it's in the field, kind of a little bit distance from the high school, but it's in that area. They dug 900 feet and couldn't get water, which is rare, right? We totally expected to have water by 500 feet. They got all the way to 900 and still hit no water. So they discovered that water's there, but the way that it was dug, the well was dug, it caused a lot of sediment that has now clogged the pipes down there. So another team has to come in and try to clean those and see if they can clean it to enough to get our water to come back up. But even then, they're expecting it to only be about 400 to 500 gallons a minute, where we like to see 1,000 gallons a minute. coming from water wells in order to properly serve the community. So we're probably gonna have to work on water well number 8. We have 7. This is gonna be number 7. So number 8, we'll be working on trying to, that might be more near like Martin's Airfield area, to try to kind of do that. So I'd like to see that project get completed. And then I'd like to also make sure that we are fully staffed at City Hall, that all the staff has the management and the department heads have all the support teams in their teams that they need.
Awesome. Thank you.
Okay.
Are there any further questions for Mayor Hernandez?
This is a little more of an overarching question, but what are you most proud to have accomplished during your time as mayor?
I feel I'm really good at tooting my own horn, but now you've got me on the spot, and I'm kind of like, But I think my greatest is that we have grown. So when I became mayor, we were woefully understaffed. And so I think I'm most proud of is the fact that I've been able to, I gave authority. So I'm just the authority. The staff is the one that does all the heavy lifting. But giving them the ability to fill positions, create positions that were never there. For example, even our deputy director position, that was a new one just a few years back ago that never existed. And so our clerk was so busy because she didn't have an assistant. So the deputy clerk position, it only came up a few years back ago. We have our new police lieutenant coming. That's not a position that they had before. So that's a new position. And there's many other departments that have new positions. So they're able to run the city better. There was so much going on that the city did not know, or so many things that were falling through the cracks, and it was affecting the citizens because we weren't taking care of projects or even little things that should have been done, and nobody knew it was happening because somebody didn't tell somebody, or there was just not enough. So I feel like by settling what's going on at City Hall, we serve our citizens better, and I think the community can see it. Streets are cleaner, trees are nice. We're doing a bunch of road safety projects, a lot of sidewalks. Before when I became mayor, we hardly had any sidewalks in most of the city. I don't know if you all were probably don't, because you may not pay attention to those kind of things, but we now have 3 times the sidewalks that we had when I became mayor. And that's important because it's safety for you, for us, for community to be able to walk, makes our city walkable. It makes it a place where it's healthier that way. So I'm really proud of being able to just get those things for the staff so that then they can get things done for the city. And then in the end, the community benefits from it. You may never know you're benefiting from it. But if you flush that toilet and things came back up instead of going down, you wouldn't be happy, right? So things like that have to be done. Potholes have to be fixed. Lighting. You drive down College Avenue. I love seeing all those trees. Things like that really make a difference in how you feel. So I think those are what I'm most proud of, is being able to work in the background so that others can then do things and then others can benefit from it.
Thank you.
Mayor, can you describe the kind of government that we have?
Oh, this is okay. So I didn't know this when I became mayor, so this was a lesson for me. The state of Washington has 3 different types of governance. There's a council. It's more like a committee, which is like Waitsburg has this. It's their committee. There's what's called a strong mayor and council, city administrator and council. And then there's what's called a weak mayor, city manager, city council. In this region, we actually have all 3 types of governments. College Place is what's called a strong mayor. That means the mayor has the ultimate power. I could fire everybody at City Hall in one day if I wanted to. I could, demand something be bought, right? You know, I'd probably not get reelected, but I can do it. So there's things, so strong mayor has the ultimate power in, you know, in that, in working with the city administrator, who is Mike Rizzatello. He's like the managers, right? He manages all the, manages all the departments. He oversees the departments and then answers to me. And then there's a city council who votes on how we're going to go. So I'm not the when it comes to making decisions in how the city's going to do, city council has that authority. I can veto if it's something that I don't like, and then the council will have to either fight me for it, or they have to, you know, they just say, okay, well, the mayor said no, right? So kind of thing. Walla Walla has what's called a weak mayor. That means their mayor is he's an elected city council member. And so he has the authority of a city council member. The way they do it is every year or 2 years, I believe, it might be 2 years, the city council votes on which one of them is going to be mayor that year, right? And the mayor runs the meetings. They do all the community events, things like that. That's what the mayor does. The full power is in their city manager. She is hired by the city council. She is not voted by the people of the community. So she's not, while she's accountable to the voters, they're not the ones that gave her job, right? So it's the city council that gave her job. So, however, I'm responsible to the voters since they're the ones that gave me my job. City and College Place, my job is considered a part-time job because we have our city administrator who does the full-time work. So mine is technically a part-time job. It doesn't feel like a part-time job, but it's technically a part-time job. So I have to have another job to pay my rent, pay my mortgage and things. City manager in Walla Walla, that's her full-time job. That's what she gets paid to do. And so that's the difference, and that's the difference with College Place is the strong mayor. So strong mayor has the ultimate authority over the entire city network.
Would you say that the government that we have in College Place is more efficient than what a weak mayor city would have?
Absolutely. Absolutely, because we can make decisions quickly. We don't have to kind of, because it was a weak mayor, the city manager, so she's the one that has to make the decisions, but she has to then, she doesn't have to, she may choose to talk with other people, right? So does this one want to do this? Well, no, this one doesn't want to, but this one does. But this one will do it only if this, right? So it gets really hard to make decisions there. Here, it's like, you know, city council either approves it, and I go through it, you know, I agree with them, or I fight it, or 99% of the time, it's Mike and I making the decision. If it's allowed by ordinance for us to make those decisions, we just make those decisions. We don't have to wait for meetings. We don't have to go through all these other people. So it's much more efficient this way. I still think it's important for the mayor to be accountable to the community. You know, the mayor's job should be tied to the satisfaction of the people they serve, in my opinion.
Since being mayor, what is one of the trickiest situations you've had to problem solve?
Oh, I'm trying to think here. I think it just keeps coming back to our water situation. People didn't realize that, you know, if that one water well had broken down, had anything would have happened to it, if it had become contaminated, we would have zero drinking water here in the city. And who knows how long it would have been, because we didn't have another well to back it up. So I think the trickiest thing was to figure out how to quickly get that done. When I became mayor and I learned that this was a situation, had to act quick of how are we going to get the money, because there was no money for it. How are we going to get the money? So have you know, Mike have to go look for grants, and we have to look for land of where to put it, and then get it up quickly, because I was so nervous that this one well would go down and people wouldn't have clean water. And then, you know, that would have been a nightmare. It's like I just became mayor and we have no clean water. So I think that was my trickiest thing that I had to problem solve of how to get the money, how to get the land, and how to get those up and running.
Are there any other further questions for Mayor Hernandez?
Yes. I was wondering what your biggest responsibilities are as being the mayor in general over everything.
Yeah. So I met your father today, this morning. Okay, so my base responsibility is really to make sure the staff, department heads, have what they need to do their jobs. For example, today I was at City Hall and I checked in with every department head. What do you need? What's going on? So I think that's my number one responsibility, is to them, because they're the ones doing the actual work. They're the ones doing the labor. They're the ones out in the community. So my number one job is to make sure they have what they need to do their job, that whether it's equipment, training, or their own peace, right? Their own health has to be worried about, their own stress levels. If they don't have enough, the proper things to get the jobs done, or there's too many jobs, or staffing. That's my number one job. I would say second is hiring. Is hiring the staff, making sure we get the right staff in the right seat.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you for the questions.
Are there any further questions? Seeing none, move on to the next item. Again, thank you so much, Mayor Hernandez, for taking the chance to just talk to us and basically take our questions.
Absolutely, I'm happy to. Thank you for having me here today.
Yeah, of course. With that done, the next thing on the agenda is a presentation update on the Downtown Association that we talked about during last meeting. So,
All right, thank you, Chair Everett. I appreciate it. I was actually really just trying to populate this meeting with something that might be interesting to you guys. So I don't know if this will be interesting, but I have been working for the last several months in developing a downtown organization. And we have finally gotten up and going, and we're going to do a lot of things, but some of the things we're going to do is public art installations. We're going to participate in business help. The doors are unlocked. Thank you. Helping businesses. We're going to build community pride and also do branding for the community to really differentiate it and carve it out. Like, we have our own niche here in College Place, and what does that mean and what does that look like? And so I'm really proud of that. We have a beautiful new logo. Will you pull this logo right here? So this logo was designed by our very own Miss Delana Bell of CM Bell Company. Her husband used to be my boss when I went to Walla Walla University, and she modeled it after College Place's original, like our blue logo. And we knew we wanted a bench, you know, to convey how friendly we are here, like come sit with us kind of vibe. And also, we are a national tree city. And so I asked her to put a tree in there, and then to add an extra, that's nice, all right? She did a great job. Added the orange leaves to kind of indicate the change of seasons within College Place, because it's so beautiful. And our trees, we have a national tree, some kind of designation. And I think we have a historic roster of trees also. So anyways, just some fun stuff, and I'm happy to take any questions if there are any.
Any questions?
Where are some of the locations where you're hoping to do art?
Am I allowed to talk about it, Mayor? Yeah. Okay. We are in the process of looking for grant funding for a mural on the side of Andy's Market, obviously on 12th Street facing Happy Wanderer, as well as on Enable Art, the side that faces the post office. She's going to put a beautiful mural there as well. And someday the big dream is, hopefully in just the next couple of years, we have this vision of this giant, almost 60-foot tall sunflower, like one line sculpture that lights up at night. Maybe it looks like a cross from one side. You know, it's an homage to our sense of place and how Walla Walla University. There's a reason I'm only the clerk. Anyways, so yeah, so those are some of the projects that we're looking at.
Awesome. Thank you. Do you guys have any questions about any of that? Cool. Seeing none, we'll move on to the action items. So again, thank you so much for the quick update. It's super fun to hear about. For the action items, we only have one thing on the agenda, and that is for a Youth Advisory Commission project. Long story short, as the Youth Advisory Commission, we have the option to introduce a project to serve, like basically provide a service to the community, provide some effect. We have this on the agenda as an action item. So if we want to take a vote on a project that we would like to do, we're able to do that this meeting. If we choose not to do that this meeting, we can table this and save that for a later meeting. So just some quick context on the action. So a little bit of historical perspective. Historically, the Youth Advisory Commission has completed a project as part of a service to their community. This project can be big or small and can also involve fundraising or not. And typically, depending on the project, it will result in more frequent meetings for this commission. Some examples of youth-led projects that the commission has led in the past from a number of different areas. The first being community improvement projects. For example, that could take the form of murals, like Ms. Garcia introduced earlier. And also we could do something such as a bus stop enhancement. That can be something where I'm assuming we get some grant funding or work to fundraise, but basically take one of those bus stops that we see all down College Avenue, all throughout College Place that typically are just like a pole on the side of the street and make it something that is a little bit more sheltered and just hospitable for people that are actively using those. Past that, another area that we could look into is educational and creative projects. If we wanted to, we could film and produce a documentary about something here in College Place, or something that I find a little bit more interesting. We, with the city of College Place, are interested in creating sister programs with a number of different cities. Current one that is, I don't know the state of this necessarily, but the city supposedly wishes to create a sister city program with Yungpeo, Mexico, and another undetermined city in Italy. But this commission could spearhead that project and begin creating a sister city committee. I don't have more details on that. Whenever we get to the conclusion of this, I might ask for more input on that. But that is an option. More options include environmental projects such as Parker Creek cleanups, and those are just simply what it says. We can organize monthly drives to get stuff cleaned up, or we could also create a pollinator garden. There's a small public garden behind the police station that could be used for this project, and we could introduce native flora to basically support bees and butterflies that are important environmentally. Those are more definite projects. However, something we could do that are something that's more event-based, we could host a pop-up art gallery. That could be a one-day or weekend exhibit featuring young local artists, host some sort of a sports tournament, soccer, basketball, kickball. We could host a local music or talent show, or a neighborhood game night. So we have a lot of different options with the direction we could go with this. This can also be something that is like as small or as large as we want. So with that in mind, do you guys have any questions, comments concerning any of this?
Yeah, I was wondering, what is a sister city program?
Ms. Garcia, would you like to elaborate?
Mayor, do you want to do this? You want to do that, or do you want to define what a sister city is? So this was actually one of Mayor Hernandez's passion projects that she wanted us to do as a city, and so that's why I put it on the list. So Miss
Yeah.
Mayor Hernandez, I'll let you take it away.
Yeah, thank you. Sorry, I couldn't get myself off of mute. The button wouldn't press. Okay, so what we do at the sister city, really, it's more of a promotional type of thing. But what your sister city does is, both the government and the citizens can work together to promote each city and each community. Now, the reason I thought of Jungapeo was because we have almost 10,000 people here who live in this valley. 10,000 people live in this valley who either come from Jungapeo or their parents came, or so they consider that their home. I was shocked to learn that we had that many from one community. It's a medium-sized community in Mexico, and they recently elected their first female mayor, like College Place did with me, and her name happened to be Norma. The fact that we have so many citizens that already have a heart for this community, I thought it would be great to be able to partner with them. So sister cities, they work together to promote each other's cities. It's really what they do. They visit, they share, they sponsor citizens. Like we could send this youth advisory to go over there for a week, and the mayor and their city council would show you around, show you things like that. Same for them over here. And so it's a good promotional effort between the two communities.
Yeah, like youth exchange, pen pal programs could be done. I mean, none of that has to be done. Those are just options.
Right.
As well as, events that kind of celebrate each other's communities. Those would be mutual. And there would be a proclamation signing ceremony between our mayors, Norma. I don't know. Anyways, which would be very, very special. So.
I was wondering the significance of the city in Italy, because we talked about the city in Mexico, and I love the culture. I was just wondering about the Italian city.
So historically, the first kind of wave of immigrants, as we know immigrants, right, or we think of immigrants, was actually Italian. And so within this valley, there is a large Italian population, and our current city administrator is he does he have dual citizenship, Norma?
He's an American citizen, as his parents, but his grandparents, when you go back, that's where they come from. His family comes from that area in Italy.
Yes, ma'am. So it's just a place that's special to this area specifically. There's even one of my favorite childhood memories is going to one of the churches here, and like one side was like North Italian and the other one was Southern Italian. They do not get on each other's side. But that's part of our culture around here. It's lesser known and would be a special homage.
Awesome. Thank you. Do we have any further discussion on the concept of a sister city? Cool. Past that, with the sister city, I don't know, do any of these other projects sound interesting to you guys?
You guys can kind of popcorn it around, if anything is jumping out at you.
I was just going to say that the one with the community, so the event-based projects, sound really fun to me because I like having the idea of putting the community into it, and also like recognizing younger artists who could be our age, younger, and it could even be people in like college, all those ideas. But I think that would be a really fun thing to do.
You can,
yeah,
you can, oh, sorry, I was gonna say, you can
Sorry,
kind
no,
of do art in the park, you know, we can display the art, maybe out in Lions Park when it's open, things like that, yeah.
That would be so cool. And I think a lot of people in the community would come join as well.
I think they would enjoy it. We can even maybe try to correlate it with a farmer's market night, right? So even more people coming.
Yeah, so it could be like a combined thing. That would be really cool.
we could definitely promote it in the local schools too, because I think lots of younger artists, the way Charlie said, would love that opportunity.
And even at the university level, I mean, we have a large amount of people who, even if they're not like art majors, or there's lots of people like enjoy the arts as a hobby and just enjoy getting to express themselves that way. And so I feel like that could be a really fun way to basically bring the entire community together. So it's not just like, hey, so there's university over here and then everyone else. Just kind of getting the chance to integrate all levels of College Place. So
I think doing an event like that with music maybe in the background from local community members, whether that be like an open mic or they kind of like sign up for it in advance, could be another way to kind of combine different talents at that event as well.
Yeah, I think that would be cool. And also, it could give us a chance to recognize people who are less known or just don't normally do things like that. But we could just reach out to push them more to want to do that.
Absolutely.
curiosity, what would organizing something like that look like?
Well, it actually is probably not as well, it probably seems like crazy to you guys, but I've done stuff like that. So it would be sending communications to the schools, doing a call to artists, probably doing some social media advertising, finding a venue, picking a date, maybe getting some volunteers, just working out how to get things displayed, how to line up music, and what time frames and stuff like that. I mean, community event planning is like being in a pressure cooker, but there's no other better glory, I'm here to tell you. When you pull off a wonderful event, especially for the youth, I mean, that would be wonderful. And you could have activities there like, fun stuff like chalk, rock painting, because kids love painting rocks.
Water balloon toss.
Water balloon toss. Maybe not. Grief. Anyways, different kinds of paint and stuff like that. Yeah.
Awesome. Do we have any further input on this? I don't know, more ideas or stuff that you guys would like to see? Cool.
And because this is an action item, if you guys want to take an action, like I would move, or you should move through each commission member, like
Okay.
individually for further comment or.
Okay. And then what is the correct title for everyone? Just commission last name?
Yes.
Awesome. Commissioner Harbor, do you have any further comments or questions on this?
Yeah, I think the art night, local music talent show kind of event, I think would be a really fun thing to get a lot of people involved.
Sounds good. Commission, I'm going to be honest, I don't know your guys' last names. Commission Ferraro?
I also kind of really like the community mural idea. So instead of just getting together to just do like your own art, we could apply it to our community somewhere so it kind of leaves that lasting impact.
Commission Hayden?
I think the one that's popping out to me a lot is the sister city commission or committee. I think connecting to communities like that would be so special and would definitely have a lasting effect on both communities. And then also the music and art festival night thing would be so much fun, and I really like that idea a lot. And having the art-based activities such as painting rocks and stuff like that would also be amazing.
Commissioner Amick, do you have anything to add?
No, I agree with what everyone said, and I think the event-based project would be super fun, but also like what Commissioner Ferraro said, leaving the murals on the walls in our community would be like a good lasting impact of that. And the Sisterhood Committee is also a very cool topic that would be fun to look into.
So from what it sounds like right now, we have two different potential projects we'd be interested in working on. Those being the sister city. Oh,
Sorry, could I just add, like, I also agree with the sister city. I really like that one, especially if we're able to connect with the city in Italy as well, because that's where my family's culture kind of came from. And I know that would be something really cool and not something my dad would probably really like to see here.
awesome. So yeah, maybe those two projects, potential ones, we'll just lump the sister committee stuff as like one project right now. But again, that's also something that had caught my eye initially and sounded really exciting. So I don't necessarily know exactly what type of motion we'd be making on this.
If you guys, I would ask if you guys would like to make a decision tonight.
Noted. Is this
Yeah, and
something?
you
Oh.
don't have to make a decision. You can choose to continue the discussion, or you can make your decision, and then that's where somebody would make a motion as to, this is what I make a motion, somebody will second it, and then that's the decision. So if you're not ready to make a firm decision, you can table it and continue the discussion next meeting.
And we could reschedule, or we could add additional special meetings, to discuss this and kind of hammer out details. So
Yeah, it'll give you, it can, if you wanted to, give you time to kind of research these things.
For the point of discussion with all this, it's sounding like there's more planning that would be necessary for pretty much anything that we go with. I don't necessarily know at what level are we involved in the planning for these? Because obviously with the community event stuff, we're more involved with that. I don't necessarily know how would we organize the sister city committee stuff. I don't know if that's something you guys are aware of.
that's a great question. That would be much more probably a city-driven effort. We would probably try to, Mayor, if you want to chime in on this one. I mean, like, there's a whole list of things to do, especially because Mayor Hernandez has the contacts in Junipero, but that would be a much more city-led venture. What I will say on that one is that it will absolutely leave a more lasting legacy, but I'm not saying either way that I like both ideas.
I love them all. I really do. I think they were pretty amazing. I even love the butterfly, the pollinator. So it could be a dual city and committee commission project, because there's things that would need to be done, like you actually, making the contacts, but then there's also things like getting the paperwork done or researching the cities. I think Mary Elizabeth, you did some research on this, and it doesn't have to be the official sister city, because there's an official sister city that you actually register, and it's an international kind of thing. Or you can do more of an unofficial, which is like what Walla Walla has with a city in Japan. And it would be, you would work with like probably Mary Elizabeth, since she is leading the clerk is leading this group, working to get the city to take those next steps, right? If it's let's go visit the cities, how do we go about getting that done? Who's going to go? Who's right? There can be things like that. Yeah, that would be probably a little bit more work to get it done. It's a great project, and I hope in the end, if you don't take it on, that's okay, because it's still going to be done at some point. We're still going to work on it. So it's, but it's, I think it would involve more city and connections. We have a citizen who actually lives right there near City Hall, He's from Huangapeo, and his whole family is, and they live right across the street there. And he's the connection, and he's the one that introduced me to the mayor. And so I think we would work with him on getting contacts and working with her committee, her people to get things coordinated. You'd probably have Zoom meetings with them, things like that.
Another way to look at it is, one project would be more community based and one would be like international, right? So.
Agreed. So you could do one that you're going to impact now, and you can have a second project that you're working on along the way. Might take a little longer because it's a little bit more work, but it can be a second project. But that would be secondary to your community-based project.
Thanks for the feedback. Obviously, I'm sure there's a lot of behind the scenes details that we just need to also get ironed out with all of this. That being said, I like the sound of kind of having a long-term project and then kind of the event-based as a more visible initial impact for us to have. That being said, is there any further discussion on either of those points? Seeing none, would anyone like to bring a motion concerning these, or are we interested in just tabling these for the time being?
I hate to say it, but you guys can't talk about this outside of this meeting either.
No.
OPMA, yeah, can't make decisions outside of the meeting.
So if we are to make a motion today, would we be able to make the motion to like do this one project and the long-term one as well? And
You could choose both projects today. You could choose one, and they can always be amended as well. If you guys, start off doing one of them and choose to do the other, there's no problem with that. Right, Mayor?
Yes, sorry, I'm just laughing because my husband sent me a text message correcting it's Huangapeo. He sent me a correction of how to say it, but yes, that is correct, Mary Elizabeth.
Previous question stands. Again, we have multiple options for this. We could introduce a motion to adopt one of these projects, both of these projects, or table this conversation until a later date, just so that we have a chance to think over all this stuff more.
So my other question was, so we kind of know that we want to do the Sister City one, kind of like it's tentative, but the other one, are we like leaning pop-up art gallery, community mural, local music and talent show? Like which one of those was kind of the one that we were leaning towards?
Personally, my interpretation, and correct me if I'm wrong, was that we were interested in doing kind of like an art display with other activities happening in the back, like namely the music, I think, was kind of like a small part of it. It just got caught up in like all the other stuff that we could do, but we could flesh that out with activities such as like hands-on art projects, painting rocks, activities just for fun. Like the balloon toss was something that came up, which always fun. And stuff like that. Obviously, that's something that probably wouldn't be able to happen until it's above like 30 degrees outside consistently. So we have time to plan that, but that's kind of my interpretation of it, was just kind of a mix of those, but mainly focused on the art and this activity stuff outdoors.
I agree with what you said.
I don't know what we're going to choose, if we're going to table it or not, but if we do end up tabling everything, I was going to suggest that maybe we could move our next meeting to an earlier date. That way we could start planning in advance if we wanted to.
Yeah, that's definitely an option. Just we can keep the previous date and then also add in a special meeting, or add in multiple special meetings if we want, just to work on planning stuff. Because yeah, unfortunately we can't like talk about this outside of the meeting, just because it has to be in like a public space that is broadcasted. So yeah, that being said, I'm in favor of both. So again, if we need to, we can always amend the decision that we make later. If we decide that we've taken on a little bit too much or something's just not as feasible as we thought, we can always adjust and then add on later as well. So.
I would personally recommend choosing one project if you're
One
going to
project?
choose a project.
Okay.
Just knowing what
Yeah.
goes into projects, like I would just choose one today and then like, if you guys want to do a second project, you know,
Hmm.
I mean, it's great. Doing 2 projects is great. What do you think, Mayor? Just don't want you guys to bite off more than you can chew.
Yeah, I say maybe just start the community project. Keep an eye. I mean, we'll keep the thought of the sister city. Again, as Mary Elizabeth said, it was something that I really wanted to get going. That I thought would be great for this community to have an international connection somewhere. And you can have 2. You can actually absolutely have more than one. And maybe not be an official project that's going to be planned right now, but it's just something that you all can keep on in your mind and kind of maybe even start researching or working with Mary Elizabeth. If the thing comes up, she can always say, you know what, I discovered this, the mayor wants us to do this, and maybe it could be a task more. But probably choosing a local project that would be seen and enjoyed by your neighbors would probably be great.
Would there be like the possibility of like doing like committees sort of? So like if we have one of like split in half and like some of us kind of focus more on one thing and the other group is still kind of helping with that, but they also have the tasks of starting kind of that sister city idea and like slowly working towards that. And then once the community event is over, we all take in that route.
I think so. I'm still pretty new, and so I don't think there's a problem with forming committees, but there has to just be less than a quorum, right? You guys can't ever be together, can't even ride on a plane together all at the same time, probably. So I think that as long as there were only 3 or less of you, like on each committee, like or together making decisions at the same time, well, you couldn't make any decisions anyways. But what do you think, Mayor?
Yeah, whatever you all have time for. So keep in mind, because this is really exciting, but keep in mind what you might have time for. I don't know if any of you are seniors, graduation's going to be coming up, things like that. So keep that in mind.
And for event planning, I highly recommend that we meet every 2 weeks, like for real.
Sounds good. So just from the sounds of it, no matter what, this is going to be a large time commitment. And I know for me, I am extremely busy this college quarter. I free up a little bit around like mid-March, but then I know other people are obviously busy. Personally, I think it would be beneficial to kind of like put a heavier focus on one of the projects just so that we're not kind of stretched too thin. With that in mind, I'd be curious to hear what you guys would prefer to prioritize. Personally, I think the Sister City project is super cool just because it has like a really long lasting effect. But if the kind of art pop-up stuff is something you guys would prefer to prioritize, I'm also completely fine with that. So I'm just curious to see what you guys think.
What do you think about going through and taking like a vote? Mayor, what do you think about that? Like, I vote for an event or I vote for the Sister City. We could do it democratically.
It's however the commission wants to do it.
Do we have a motion for a vote on deciding between the 2 options?
I motion.
We have a motion. Do we have a second?
I'll second.
All right. We are bringing to a vote the motion to decide between basically creating a project as finding a sister city and starting a committee for that, or hosting a pop-up event for art and music events in the community. All in favor of the Sister City project, say aye.
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 Oh, raise a hand, I guess, makes it easier. All in favor of the APA project for art? Raise your hand and say aye.
Aye.
All right, Commissioner Amick is the sole vote on that one. That being said, the conclusion, result of that vote is that the committee prefers a sister city commission.
So that's there for you guys' benefit so that you know pretty much exactly what to say in the motion?
As chair, I'm also able to make a motion, correct?
I think so.
Cool. I would like to make a motion to adopt the Sister City project as the Youth Advisory Council's 2025 project and to meet as a commission weekly, or sorry, bi-weekly? No,
I would say
About
for
monthly.
Sister Committee or for Sister City Committee, I'd say every 3 weeks or so.
every 3 weeks.
Which would put our next meeting at, looks like March 12th.
Well, let me check my calendar really fast.
With the meetings being during the weekday, I'm going to be starting a sport soon. Would we be able to push the meetings till later, more around 6 possibly? Because I have a sport that goes till 5:45.
Oh.
Works for me. I don't know. Are there any other conflicts that we'd have to work around if we're meeting on the 12th? Cool. Seeing none, I'll just restate the motion so that it's more concise. Once again, making a motion to adopt the Sister City project as the Youth Advisory Council's 2025 project and to meet as a commission on March 12th at 6 p.m. So we have a motion. Do we have a second?
I'll second.
We have a second. All in favor, say aye.
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 Any opposed, say nay. All right, motion passes or the ayes have it and the motion is passed. So we'll be adopting the Sister City project and meeting on March 12th.
That's really cool. I mean, no matter what project you did, that would be really cool.
Yeah, thank you all for, again, whatever project it was, thank you. It's really cool. It's exciting to see it, any of these happening for the community.
Yeah, thank you for the ideas. It helped to actually have kind of a framework to work within. So that being said, that's all that we have for the action items. So we'll now move on to reports, of which we have 2025 movies in the park and other community events from Ms. Garcia.
I'll keep it short, as you can see on there. So I did definitely want you guys to weigh in, but I had to order the movies already. So we're gonna have 5 movies in the park this summer. One being Fern Gully because it's kind of tropical and summery, and because I haven't seen it for like 20 years. Maybe even like 30 years. And then in July, we'll have Top Gun Maverick, which is, patriotic and military themed. And then beginning of August, we'll have Wicked, just because I haven't seen it yet and it seems popular. I've heard it's good. And then end of August, we'll have E.T., which I don't know have any of you even seen E.T.? Okay, that's great because
Oh, that's amazing.
I know, right? And then finally in September, we're viewing Coco in celebration of Latino Heritage Month.
Well, I'm sorry, Mary Elizabeth. What was the first one you said?
Fern Gully.
Fern Gully. Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
That's the only one I've never seen.
Awesome. Thank you for your report. Do the commissions have any questions, comments, or further discussion on any of these? All right. Seeing none, move on to the closing items. The next regularly scheduled meeting that we have is April 16th, 2025. I'm assuming at the same time, 4 o'clock typically.
Unless we're going to move all meetings to 6
We can move into 6.
p.m.
Yeah.
Does that work for you, Charlie?
Yes.
No worries. So yeah, that being said, the next the next special meeting that we have is March 12th at 6 p.m. Next regularly scheduled meeting, April 16th at 6. And I believe that is about all we have. So is there a motion to conclude the meeting? Oh,
I'll motion to conclude.
all right. We have a motion. Do we have a second?
I'll second that.
We have a second. If there's no objection, the meeting is now concluded at 5:40 p.m. Any objections? All right. Meeting is adjourned.
Thank you all for participating and your work. I'm thoroughly impressed. And I got to ask, Commissioner Hayden, are you Teresa's daughter?
I am, yeah.
Okay, so you used to live near me.
Oh, actually? That's awesome.
Yeah. Okay, well, tell your mother I said hello. Thank you all for giving your time.
Thank you for coming, Mayor. It was
Thank you,
wonderful to
Mayor.
have you.
Absolutely. You all have a good evening.
You too.